Hello friends, welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. And in this Python programming video series, today you will learn about loops. Loops are an integral part of any programming language, and a good programmer must have command over loops. Python supports two kinds of loop, for loop and while loop. Let's learn about them. For loop, the syntax is for some variable, some iterator, then parenthesis, and then body of the loop or the piece of code that you want to run. Ultimately, let me first select a kernel here. Ultimately, for loop loops over a piece of code for certain times. For example, run this body 3 times. This is where you can use for loop. Let's say in case you want to run something like this, 11 into 1 equals to 11, or I can use single. 11 into 2 equals to 22, and so on up to 11 into 10 equals to 110. Let's say you want to run this, or you want to print this kind of thing. Then what you can do is that we will use the same syntax for a variable and some iterator. Now, Python has a good iterator called range. Let's say range 5. You'll see it got iterator range 0 to 5. I can also say 0 to 5 and we will get the same thing. If I say 0 to 5 in step of 2, then you can see we got iterator 0 to 5 in step of 2. So we can see this, or we can use this iterator here. Let's say range, I'll say 5, and we need to use in keyword here. That means for a variable in range of, or in iterator of some range. So here we can print the where, and if I run this code, you see it ran 5 times, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now let's try to print the table of a number. So for I in range of 11, that means it will go from 0 to 10, but we don't want it. So I'll do 1 to 11. So it will go from 1 to 10. And I'll use colon operator, and I'll use f string. I'll say number, I'll say num x, I say I equals to, I'll say num into I, and I know we haven't defined num yet. So let's say num equals to, let's say 11. Now you see that we have printed the table of 11. Let's say you have a list. Let's say 1, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and you want to loop over this list of values. You can use for item in list, print item. Let's say if you have a dictionary D with key value pairs, you can loop over this dictionary in couple of ways, but the most used and most loved way is to use items on dictionary and then get a tuple of key value pair. So key value in d dot items. So this d dot items will return an iterator, and each means and the iterator has key value pair, or iterator have tuple, and when we unpack the tuple we will get two values, key and pair, and we can print key and value like this. So this is a for loop. Also you can use one for loop in another for loop. So for example, for I in range of let's say 2, and for j in range of 3, and we can print I and j like this. Okay, for each value of I run this, for each value of I run this. So for 0, j will be 0 1 2. For 1 of value I, j will be 0 1 2. This is very helpful in pattern generation program. Next, there is a loop called while loop. So while loop is used when you don't know how many times you want to repeat a particular operation. While loop is written using while keyword, condition followed by parenthesis and body of the while loop. So let's say while true, print yes. When I run this, you will see that this loop will run infinitely. Okay, this loop will run infinitely because this condition is always true and this is going to print yes. So I need to delete it. Now what I can do is that, let's say a flag equals to true, and I say while flag print yes, and I'll make the flag false. Now you can see we got the response only for one time. Okay, I think my Visual Studio Code is hang, but I hope this is understandable to you, that when you use a condition like this flag, you make sure that the condition changes after some period of time, otherwise the while loop runs for infinite time and it can cause problem to your program. I think this is it from this part of the tutorial on Python. I hope you have gained some knowledge on for loop and while loop through this tutorial, and if you do so, please consider subscribing to my channel. It helps. Thank you for watching. Peace.